Hi, this is Pat Moorhead with More Insights and Strategy, and we are here for another More Insights and Strategy podcast. I am so happy to have Vittorio Viarengo, VMware VP of CrossCloud Services. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Good to talking to you again.
Yeah, it's great. You're one of these folks that never saw a microphone or camera they didn't love. I mean, I saw you jumping all over the stage at Explore. I mean, and here we are again.
Yeah, I mean, being in front of our customers after so many years has been it was very refreshing.
I know it's so nice to get back on the road, and now I find myself on the road pretty much all the time. So we're going to deal with this. But hey, we're not here to talk about Pat's travel troubles or the challenges of being on camera all the time. We're here to talk about CrossCloud Services, which is the name of the game in the industry and also at VMware. And I think a good way to start off here is first of all, let's talk about how you define multi-cloud and how is that different from VMware Cross-Cloud Services portfolio?
So we look at multi-cloud as the state of the industry, as the architecture that pretty much 87% of companies are using today, where they're using two or more clouds, including the private cloud, to run their business. So that's the market, that's the architecture of IT. Multi-cloud services is an industry term that we help create that describe services that solve a problem consistently across multiple clouds, like management, like application development, like security. And VMware Cross-Cloud Services is our implementation of these multi-cloud services. And we happen to have 5 of them, so we believe we have the most complete platform to solve the challenges of multi-cloud.
Yeah, well, it is. I'm really happy where we are right now that we're talking about this, and you and others have created solutions for this. I talk to customers at least once a week, and customers who have 3 sets of teams, one for each cloud, and it's different for everything. So I'm glad you're coming to the table with this. Speaking of kind of historical, how do you think, what's changed the last year or two? How has your definition of cloud services evolved? Are they still trying to figure out multi-cloud, or do they generally get it?
I think every customer has a different level of acceptance or denial. I was at Explorer, I was on a roundtable with a bunch of banks, and I saw the entire spectrum at one table. So there is one customer is saying, oh, we're just on-prem and we standardize on Azure. And I go, okay. Then I was going to the next one and go, well, the business units are using AWS. And we bought a company that uses Google. So it's like, okay, so you have 4 or 5. So the next one is like, oh, we are multi-cloud. We have applications on-prem, on Azure, everywhere. And now we're building a management tool to manage these applications. And I'm thinking, okay, you're not going to build it yourself. You're going to buy it from one of the vendors eventually. But that's the next stage. And then you have S&P Global at the table that is basically seeing this problem years ago and is using Tanzu, our product Tanzu, which is a cross-cloud service to build and manage application across clouds. And they're basically, it said, oh, enough of the developers doing whatever they wanted to do. We wanted to get in front of them, give them the choice, but also build the guardrails that allow us as a bank to adopt multiple clouds with peace of mind.
Yeah, it's funny. I think the ones that I'm talking to are large, and for what it's worth, maybe the person who said we've standardized on Azure, maybe they don't know what their business units are doing.
Yeah, but it's because the cloud was adopted by the business, right? The business was like, hey, where is the path of least resistance for me to accelerate my business? And they look at their developers, and the developers go, oh, the cloud, I'm going to the cloud, right? And so a lot of I think IT and IT operators in many companies have been left a little behind. And I think now they're realizing they have to get in front of it and make sense of all this.
Yeah, I think I remember an expression, maybe it was you, maybe it was somebody else at VMware, that talked about cloud chaos. And, kind of as okay, we started here, we get here, and cloud chaos really is having 3 or 4 different DevOps teams, one for each cloud. One could be a private cloud as well, and having different ways of, and fundamentally not being able to build once and deploy in every cloud. And that brings me, those are some of the challenges that we're seeing. I'm curious, what are some of the challenges you're trying to address with your multi-cloud services? What are you hearing that they need?
Well, you just said it.
Okay.
If you have multiple teams and multiple stacks in the cloud, your costs are going to go up exponentially. People went to the cloud for speed, and many of them thought they were saving money. But now, between not using it efficiently and having multiple stacks, you have to train multiple teams, you have different ways of building applications, different ways of managing applications. It's unsustainable. So the problem we're solving is to basically create a level of abstraction across these clouds that allows our customers to build, manage, run, secure, and connect any application across any cloud with a single platform. It's like, the analogy is like, if you go back 10, 15 years on-prem, and you have, I have an HP team that knows how to run HP machines and HP storage. Then I have a Sun team, and I have a Dell team. It's just, we came in with virtualization. We created a level of abstraction and made it all look the same. And we unleashed a new era of computing. So I think that multi-cloud is prime now for vendors like us and others to create a new level of abstraction that allows our customers to lower their cost and accelerate their business.
Yeah, I remember those early virtualization days. I would actually at AMD, and people are saying, hey, gosh, business is going to go down in the server industry. And it ended up going up by 50% once everybody did that. And competition got fierce as well. And part of what, at least, your belief system, one of the things that I'm really excited about as an analyst is the competition amongst public cloud vendors going up once it's easier to manage between multiple clouds. That's what I'm super excited about. You recently announced what's called VMware Aria. Is this a product that is solving these types of challenges? Is that the fix for this?
Yes. If you look at the customer challenges in a multi-cloud environment, the number one is how to build an application in one place that be able to deploy it everywhere. So that's one place. The second, once you have deployed your infrastructure, your application, is how you manage it. So Aria is our CrossCloud service that allows our customer to get a single view of all their assets, from the infrastructure to the application to the connection between application across on-prem and the cloud. And so once you have this, the technical term that we use is this common object model. What is a fancy term to say a common visibility, a common way of looking at your assets. Now you can do things like monitor, first of all, do the inventory so you know where your stuff is. Then you can do management and lifecycle management and performance management. You can do security things like assessing the posture of your clouds wherever the applications run. And finally, being able to manage cost. So you know how much it's costing you to run this application across multiple clouds.
Understand. That sounds super strong, and it's funny. I used to be an ex product person myself before I went to the analyst side. I guess I have products too, but different kind of products. And the core value proposition of that sounds strong. Now, how does that relate to other cloud services or pieces of software that you have? Some people want to ask, hey, how does that fit into Tanzu as an example?
Right. So it's basically the way to look at this is that we have these 5 cross-cloud services: Tanzu for application development and operation, Aria for a single pane of glass for management, and we have VMware Cloud to run enterprise application with enterprise level of service across any cloud, and we have NSX and Carbon Black for security, and Workspace ONE for end user access to these services. So that's how we look at it from a functionality perspective. But then our customers use a combination of these services to solve different use cases. For example, if you're modernizing your way you're building modern application, you use Tanzu and Aria. Tanzu for development and Aria for management, and maybe a sprinkle of security on top of it. If you are moving to the cloud and accelerating your cloud transformation, you use VMware Cloud, which includes Aria for management and security, and so on and so forth. So it's really, I think one of the things that I always loved about working at VMware is I would call it enterprise pragmatism. That means that we are a company that is grounded in the experience of running 90 million workloads for the enterprises, the stuff that really runs their business, and 500,000 customers. And so whenever we build something innovative like this, we always have we always keep in mind where customers are in their journey to whatever destination they're on. And so this approach, having multiple cross-cloud services that are independent but integrated, allows them to pick and choose the things that they need for whatever point they are in their journey.
I appreciate the clarity, and your business has grown so much over the last decade in so many different areas. It's helpful to have the decoder ring out, but Aria sounds super exciting, and core value prop definitely passes my smell test. And if you look at a paper we wrote 10 years ago, we outlined what we thought it would take to pull off. Well, first of all, the multi-cloud was going to happen, even though there were so many naysayers out there. And I understand the naysayers because the maturity of the software wasn't obviously where it is 10 years, but we are here now. So there's a lot of competition out there, and I always say competition is really good. You have others bringing out their own multi-cloud services, and even though they might call them different things, that's what they are. Are you trying to build like you have in other VMware products and services, a formal ecosystem or some sort of consortium around multi-cloud services?
So the answer is yes. First of all, if there wasn't competition and other companies building cross-cloud services, there wouldn't be a market. Yeah. And there are dozens, and I would argue that most innovation these days happens across cloud. Because if you're a startup, I'm here in Silicon Valley, and actually it's close to Sand Hill Road, where all the VCs are. If you are funding a startup that does a solution for one hyperscaler, at some point that hyperscaler will come up and absorb that functionality.
Yes, right? We've seen that over the last 15 years.
Yeah, and so I think that most startups out there are building solutions that work across clouds. And there are examples like Snowflake for data, Aviatrix, Confluent. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. HashiCorp for management. So the market is there and it exists. What we are trying to do is we believe we are the only company that is taking a platform approach to solving the multi-cloud problem. So that's where we're bringing not just Tanzu, but a Tanzu and Aria to solve the application development. So, and then with security, we believe we have the most complete cross-cloud service platform out there. Now, if you look at what we have done with our hypervisor on-prem, once we created a level of abstraction, an incredible ecosystem developed atop of it. They knew that by plugging into us, they would work across everything. So as we become increasingly successful and we grow in this multi-cloud market, I think there will naturally be an ecosystem that will build upon our cross-cloud services API, so that we take care of running and managing everywhere on any cloud, and they can do the additional service on top.
Yeah, I would expect this as well. I mean, if you think of let's say you're starting up one of you're a startup and you want to write to, let's say, Aria or your platform, as opposed to writing across 5 or 6 clouds, which would take a heck of a lot more resources. Um, you know, I
That's the perfect
definitely,
example. That's
yeah,
the perfect example. So that you're providing some sort of management capabilities and you want to build it across cloud. You don't want to build your own console. You want to build all your own basic pieces you can plug into Aria and let us do the hard work on the bottom and then add value on the top. Absolutely.
yeah. So speaking of opportunity, let's talk about the hyperscalers out there right now, the giant clouds out there. Are they competitors, partners? Do they just coexist in parallel with vendors like you? By the way, I have seen some softening for sure of attitudes of this.
They're both, right? We partner very close. We have co-development with all the hyperscalers, right? There's no other companies that does that at that level that we do it. We have VMware Cloud and running on all of them, and so they're great partners of ours. When it comes to multi-cloud, they're also on the spectrum. You have companies like AWS talking about multi-cloud, and Oracle also with the announcement with Microsoft, and Google increasingly talking about multi-cloud. I think that their business model and they're being so successful with their stack that I think it's going to take away from their focus on multi-cloud. Right? We are coming in from the top and say, hey, we don't have any as Raghu likes to describe us, for the Switzerland of IT and Switzerland of cloud. And so we believe we have an advantage there, but it's going to be a competition environment like we always work on.
Yeah, I'm glad the way you painted that, and the way that I see and I saw the industry wind up, or the way I see it playing out was you had some of the smaller hyperscalers who were like multi-cloud, 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 and hybrid. Well, actually, they went hybrid first, and then they went to multi-cloud, and then I'll just be open and honest to conversation we're having here. AWS dragged their feet on hybrid, and then they now have 17 different hybrid offerings, and the last time I checked. We'll see what happens for this upcoming reInvent. AWS still has never used the word multi-cloud in a positive way.
Yeah, but they're all very smart, of course, and they talk to customers.
Yeah.
And so inevitably, they see the challenges that their own customers have being in multiple clouds, and so they're all going to step up to help their customers. So there's no question that eventually, look, we believe that multi-cloud is the architecture for the next 10, 20 years. And there's going to be tons of problems to be solved and tons of value to be delivered to customers out there.
Yeah, experience matters. And, I remember talking to IBM mainframe customers, DEC VAX customers, and kind of understanding why they ultimately moved to a more common platform and the benefits that it brought them. And there's still a lot of those experienced people left that understand that there are going to be certain features and capabilities and cost points, security levels across different public clouds that are best for them. So I think I know how this is going to end, but I do want to talk about the future here. If we can talk maybe 2, maybe 3 years into the future, how do you see this evolving, and where does VMware fit into that narrative?
I think that the way it's going to evolve is that I think we're very early in this market still. I think we're very far down the path of multi-cloud, but the understanding of the challenges and the solution for multi-cloud, we're still very early for our customers. So I think 2 years from now, we'll see many more customers going from cloud chaos to what we call cloud smart, where you look at your cloud infrastructure as an opportunity of that gives you an opportunity to run the application to the right cloud, right? And the role of VMware will be to be the platform player that, instead of bringing a point solution for management, a point solution for security, a point solution for application development and so forth, we're going to be the company that emerges once again as the main platform player to solve the challenges of multi-cloud with our cross-cloud services. And I think by then, many more customers, analysts, and the market will appreciate and give us credit for our commitment to be a provider of solution for native cloud. Not just having the religion of putting our hypervisor everywhere, which has a great use case, but that we are committed to solving the cloud native challenges that our customers have in multi-cloud.
Yeah, Vittorio, I appreciate you being very frank and honest and talking about that it's early, right? Because a lot of time, right, if a new product comes out, hey, why didn't it take over the market in a year? Well, you and I both know enterprise and IT operate slow, and typically the bigger you are as an entity, the longer it takes for things to change. What I know for certain, by the way, I buy into your future view here. It's inevitable, and this is why 11 years ago I said the world was hybrid, and 5 to 6 years ago I said the world is going to go multi-cloud, and the naysayers came out. But there are just a few truths in IT and business. People want choice, okay? That is first and foremost. And when it comes to public cloud services, that choice comes at a cost, whether it's DevOps, whether it's applications. And I get on video with these clients, and they're literally telling me, hey, I know I'm not doing it right now, but this is what I want. So that to me is validation enough that VMware, you're on the right track with a lot of things, but Aria is super strong, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And I'd love to have you on in the future to talk about it.
Absolutely, anytime. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, Vittorio, I appreciate your time. This is Pat Moorhead with More Insights and Strategy, with More Insights and Strategy podcast. If you like what you heard, hit that subscribe button. If you have some comments for Vittorio or I, you can hit us up on Twitter. We're very active, maybe too active. I don't know. But for this episode,